after I moved on from the Taj, I went to Thailand. I was there for a period of about 3 years. And then the promoters approached me. They were looking out for somebody to start a Thai restaurant. Now, having said that, so I said, yes, it's not a bad idea. And then the location I was very happy with, international airport, uh, business travelers coming and going, tourists basically coming and going, resident guest of Marriott. And there are many other hotels around this vicinity to latch on to this kind of food. So I said, fine, I'm okay with this. That's how Thai food came into being, as far as in this location is concerned. So having said that, I said, yes, then we have to do the interiors part of it. So I said, interior cannot be done in isolation. It has to be done with the kind of food. So I needed somebody who knows what kind of food I do and how do I cook and stuff like that. So we got in this company called K Studios, who have also worked with me earlier. So that lady is aware of the style of cooking I do and stuff like that. And she's eaten in Bombay, in Thai Pavilion, basically the food which I create. So that was pretty well put into place. That's the reason why we decided that we'll keep this restaurant Thai Nam. Nam is in Thai language, it means liquid. So that's the reason why this name comes. It comes in from there. So what happens here is basically, in Thailand, when you go to any house or any temple or any holy place, you will have something whereby bad omen doesn't come around you. So these are those features which we have actually kept here. It doesn't mean that we are wanting to keep this away, but we also thought, yes, in India also we have these things. So what we have tried to do in this restaurant is we have got different elements from different regions in Thailand. So now when you stand here, it will take you through northern part, which is Chiang Mai region basically. And this is collected from the river beds of Thailand, and you get in limited quantities. In earlier days, only the palaces could afford to use it. Now it's common. Everybody has it everywhere. See, I'll tell you something. Though I encourage people growing Thai herbs in India, it may not be the same. So uh, I prefer getting it from Thailand. The herbs comes from there. We have local vendors out here, which from where we buy our local ingredients, like John Dory, scallops, soft shell crabs, sea bass. These are not local fishes. Though we use red snapper also, which is local. The prawns are from here. The meat and poultry is local. Basically, we use from India. The herbs and sorry, and the sauces come from Thailand. Like Nampla, which is not produced here in India, so it has to be imported. And I am used to a certain kind of a brand, so we stick to that. Like the rice noodle, which is dried and stuff like that. So we import that. Provisions can be imported once in 3 months. Perishables come depending upon the consumption. We get every 15 days normally, so we don't stock them up. And since this is a standalone restaurant, we don't have that kind of space to really store up and keep. So we get it every 15 days. Now it's very easy because cargo is on, so it is not a difference. And I took them around. The only difference is the curries which are made up north will be slightly different than which is made in the central plains and the ones which are made in the south. But a curry is a must in a Thai restaurant. So curry is there. So that's the structure of your restaurant. That's how it is. So when you say Thai food, obviously you will say, what kind of soup? The first thing which comes up to your mind is tom yum. So we have tom yum on the menu. We also have tom kha, which is coconut based. We also have gang jut, which is a clear soup. There are 3 sections to that soup. Then we come to the salads, which is also served together. Actually, all this thing, I'll come to that eating part of it later. The second component which comes into warm and cold salads. So raw papaya salad is very, very popular. So though raw papaya salad in Thailand is got prawns in it, we do it the vegetarian version out here. And in case if you say, yes, I want to have it with shrimps, we add the shrimps in. So nothing as veg and non-veg. Vegetarian dishes are made taking away the non-veg element in it. Like suppose if I say somtam, the non-veg element of nampla and the prawns are removed from there. So we pep it up a little. So the recipe is a little tweaked to make sure that we make it a little more sharper and it's palatable. And people like that part. So this the same principle is followed for everything. Now the uniqueness of this place is now in this restaurant here, we also do Jain, where there is no onion, no garlic, no root vegetables. Yet it should have that punch. So what we do is we have formulated a certain spice level in that to make sure that yes, even if a Jain person has the curry, he doesn't feel the difference. He will feel the difference, but it will not be so used that he doesn't like it. If you go to Thailand, you will not have that because you can't do a curry without kha ginger. But we do it without the kha ginger. No onions in that, no ginger in that, no root vegetables in that. That's how it goes. So that's how the menu is formulated. Though in the menu it is not written, but we do cater for Jain food as well. We opened last year on the 11th of Feb. That's 2020. I don't think so anybody will remember 2020 after Jan and Feb, and suddenly the December month comes in, you just forget the rest part of it. And we closed on the 23rd. Effectively closed on the 18th, but by the time we could wrap up and all that, so 3-4 days. So what we did was in that period, since I was working with a new team, I want to train these guys up. So I just had about 3 months to put things together. I came back from Bangkok in the month of November, and then there was hardly any time, interiors, getting the cutlery, crockery, hollowware and silverware to get them in place, to get the menu printed, uniform cut designing, all that was a big ask. So it was a blessing in disguise as far as I am concerned, though it should not happen ever in anybody's life or career.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so what I did was we started training again. So we had everything with us, it was just that we had to practice. So we put all the small things together to make sure that yes, every day people were coming and they were being retrained in what they were at. So right now what we have is, out of all my staff, 50% of them work 15 days in a month and 50% of them work the next 15 days. Because accommodation we provide them here. And then what we do is we have got a house doctor who comes and he does their COVID tests, not this thing. In case if they have any symptoms, then they are attended to. But touch wood, by the grace of God, we have been safe so far. See, when the restaurant was put into place, we had taken it goes to the economics part of it. The restaurant is designed in such a way that I should do a certain number with my input cost. Now, yes, it does play on your bottom line. So I will be, telling you lies in case if I don't admit it. That's the reason why we have so many covers. Now, cutting down to what we have today, though we have space, that's the right thing to say. Only thing which works right now for us is basically because I have to make sure that I sanitize the tables also. So we don't use the same table again. Like for example, if I use this table now, the next round I'll be using this table.
Okay.
But we don't open the restaurant for the next session in the morning, basically because we sanitize this whole place altogether. Every door, anytime in your life something closes, some other opportunity opens up for you. So we are actually concentrating a lot on outdoor catering now, private parties at home, takeaways. We have got our own unique boxing which people love to see that they are safe and secure when they reach you. Then we also do the bento boxes. The boxes are there in which we deliver food, but also the bento box which is meant like in the sense at a fixed price, vegetable, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, seafood or mix of both, priced at a very economical thing. It's all there on the website. So what happens is when people order home, now who will order a Thai meal? First timers. They'll be a little apprehensive, but they will call for it. So when they call for it, we guide them. Normally, we will not hear people calling for soups at home. They'll call for salads, rice starters, curry rice, and a couple of main courses. So it is very simple. In a restaurant, when they come, it's different. Here they will pick with the soups, they'll have the starters, they'll have the salads, they'll have the curry rice and the main course one by one. What happens in this case when we deliver, everything is delivered together to you at home, which is the way it should be. That's how Thais eat at home. Everything is served together. If in fact they have a better meal experience in that sense. But the only difference is the ambience is not there. The ambience may be good at home, but it's not same as eating in a restaurant. But people do order because not that many places were open. Everybody was doing takeaways. There's no choice, you know. Suppose you say कि I won't have a rice noodle or a bami noodle or a handmade noodle. So there's a choice of that. So we tell you what will go with what well. That's what we do. We also do small party caterings for about 15 people, 20 people, 30 people, whereby we sparingly give service because I don't want my staff to go and mingle with unknown people there and then come back and mingle around with people here. But we normally what we do is we send in our own bowls. We deliver the bowls to you on time when you want to have a dinner, and then you go and collect it the next day. It depends on how you choose the menu. It'll range for a vegetarian meal experience at home around 1500 rupees, which is inclusive of taxes, which will consist of some salads, dry starters, curry rice, noodles, and a dessert. So it's vegetarian. Suppose you go for a mix of seafood and poultry, depending upon what it is, it may have prawns and fish, and what kind of fish. It'll range anywhere between 1800 to 2500. If it's only seafood, then it's 2500 plus. But when we send home, we make sure that we ask you the numbers of people, how many people are going to eat, and then the total weight of that meal normally a person will have will not exceed more than 450 to 500 grams. So we make sure that the food is not short. We also we talk to the customers or the guests as much as we can to find more details who the heavy eaters are. So we send on a little on the higher side, and we do that. Or we have third option, whereby we tell you that in one portion we have so many pieces. So you order portion wise. So you can order 2 portions of satay, 2 portions of somtam. Even that is possible. See, I'll tell you something. There are few things if you are doing like cooking Indian food in US. You will not get curry leaves there. You have to get it from somewhere, no? Because the weather Europe. You will not get greens there. So obviously you'll have to get things from around the place. I'm just talking about one basic ingredient like curry leaves. Same thing happens here. I encourage local producers as much as I can to make sure that they do what I want to use on a regular basis. Seafood, obviously, we buy from you, excepting those kind of meats or poultry or seafood which is not locally available. We have to depend upon outside market. But most of them, like listen, the vegetable producers and all that, they come here. I have got 3-4 people, vendors who are here. They are from Nasik, some are from Hadapsar near Pune. They come, I've showed them few things, they grow for me. And as in how it's ready for use, they get here. Like wheat basil, it's possible to grow. So I provide them with seeds. Okay, now it all depends. See, first of all, it's not as easy as it's said or it's theoretically done. It has to be practiced on a daily basis. So you'll have to I have a very good team first of all, and then who understand what food wastage is all about. You have to actually, make sure that you drill that in their head. That's number one. Number two, I also anticipate my business. On a Monday, how much I'm going to do. On a Tuesday, how much I'm going to do. On a Wednesday, how much I'm going to do. And on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, how it goes. Unlike the Western world, it's not necessary that people do the booking and they'll turn up.
They'll do a booking and turn up.
Sometimes they may not come. Okay. So obviously, I don't want to say that I don't prepare for everyone. So I know exactly how many numbers I might do, and accordingly I do my back end. I'll be, misquoting facts. Even after doing all this, there can be certain wastages. First of all, you got to be patient. You got to have a lot of patience. You got to be compassionate. You can't lose your. First of all, you can't wear your heart on your sleeve. That's number one. You got to be getting everything together: the human element, the skill part of it, and uh, making sure that you are compassionate with people, and you have patience. It's not that, it's like, I don't know from which part of the country you come from. My dad had planted some trees, when we were small. I'm from Mangalore. Normally in Mangalore, you'll have jackfruit cut tree or a mango cut tree or a coconut cut tree. So he plants the tree. The fruits I have seen, he was not there to see the fruits coming. Because it takes 25, 15, 20 years, for the fruits to bear. So restaurant business is something like that. You can't invest today and wait for tomorrow. Now, though economics will say otherwise, you will wait for 2, 3 months, yes, but you will see the footfalls coming in, so you know that yes, I'm going to get the returns in maybe 1 year, 18 months, or 2 years. And before that, before you enter into this, you got to first make sure that you have a proper bar chart which shows you the path on which you're supposed to be traveling. That's number one. Number two, that's the part of sustainability which you are calling about. Make sure that you are well equipped to handle any circumstances. Let me tell you this. I don't look at anything as an adversity. The moment you have this in your mind, I think probably you will go on the back foot. Look at every adversity as an opportunity for tomorrow. That's what I have done. So when this hit me, obviously everybody was panicking in the market. Everyone. Because they had so many things they have committed into and stuff like that. But that's not the end of the world. That gives you an opportunity. Like I told you, we did a lot of takeaways. 30th of June we opened and we've been busy. They saw, meals going. It's just that the timings are different. Here in the restaurant they'll come to eat at 7. Your parcels start going at 5:36. You have to reach town. You have to reach, Borivali or maybe Panvel. We distribute food. We deliver food across Bombay, and we have our own delivery system. People carry it themselves and they deliver to your house. So obviously now Google Map is there to locate the building. So till the T, there is a lot of assistance, in many ways. You can't go wrong in that. So these are which opportunities which you got to look at it differently and then do it. For the chefs, what I will say is, as an entrepreneur, this is what he has to do. Second part is make sure that you stick to your basics of cooking. This is an art. It's more of an art rather than a skill. So what you do is, art of cooking will never change. Skill set you can keep on adding, but treat this as an art and make sure that you do it yourself. Even today I'm at the range. I cook actively as the day when I started cooking many years back. I'll just tell you this, you asked me many questions, that's actually ingrained in me. If you really, I never want to talk of my past, but I like to take up things which many people have not done. The doables, the ones which already done, to replicate that back again is very not very easy, but it's possible to do it. You should, if you want to be known for something, then a coffee shop with no dal, no roti, no butter chicken, no paneer makhani, this Italian coffee shop is the only one of its kind in the country. Okay, and it's successful. It began with pizzas, the best pizzas in town. It began with pastas, the best pastas in town. And then I added on a little bit of more antipasties and main courses in that, and then you got the dessert angle in it. Everywhere in most of the 5-star hotels, you'll always have a restaurant which is multi-cuisine, Indian. You'll have a little bit of north, a little bit of south and stuff like that. You were the only one, I was the only one who thought a little different, because to do that also you need backing of your superiors. I was very lucky that I was backed with a lot of people with different vision, like Mr. Kerkar was one of them, Mr. Krishna Kumar, basically when he became Mr. Raymond Dixon. These were the people who actually motivated me in a big way, and nobody wants to fail in life. No? So, but you can't succeed without failing. but you can't take your failure to the plate. I'm talking about the real life time. So you do a lot of work on it at the back end to make sure that yes, this is the way I would like to do. Like I was the only person who started one price for anything you buy, whether you buy vegetarian, whether you buy Shinichi Trattoria basically or any other restaurant which I've created across the country. Uh, for that, you got to have some back-end data with you. What is the mix I'm going to cater for? Who are the kind of people who are going to come and dine with me? What is there they're looking for? What are the trend for tomorrow? Will I be able to sustain it or not? So these are questions which you have to ask. You can't be running a business for charity. What is Konkan belt? First of all, we talk about Konkan, we only talk about Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg. Konkan belt is not that. Konkan belt is the total belt. The Deccan Plateau is the Konkan belt. It begins from Bombay and it goes up till Mangalore. So that is what Deccan Plateau. And food produced, and since I hail from one of the cities in this belt, it was a little easier for me to really collate. And once you know that yes, I know that Thai food is based, the principal ingredient out there is coconut, and other spices besides herb. It was very easy to do a restaurant which is Konkan based with coconut and minus coconut as well. Because everybody may not be, liking coconut as a main principal ingredient in the food. Uh, so what happens here, if a person will say, I want to have tandoori roti only. Now this kind of food doesn't go with tandoori roti. You'll have to have either breads made out of rice flour or idiyappam, appam or malbari parathas and stuff like that, which are griddle made. So we specialized in that, and a restaurant was born taking care of only this belt. So it's not only about seafood, though on the coastal belt you'll only get seafood. As in how you come up in the interiors, you'll have meats. And then there are vegetarian community also, so there are a lot of vegetarian options in this belt. That's how Konkan was born.